Alright, here we go.
Take off.
First of all, get over here and you should be able to see frost on the top of the houses, okay? Alright, so we're going to go up to about 200 feet. And I'm not sure whether we'll be able to show it or not. But over on those hills, first of all, you can see the frost on the golf course. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but way over on those mountains, there's snow. This is the coldest winter we've had since 2013. So I thought maybe I'd share that. This is Arizona. Hello, I'm Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and I'm the guy that was out taking the videos of the cold weather here in Arizona, which it's not been this cold since 2013, so that's quite a few years to stretch back. And so we didn't move down here to Arizona from Washington State in order to have this kind of weather, but here we are. But that's not what I want to talk about. As you know, I have a YouTube and a website, a YouTube channel and a website, and I have a couple thousand subscribers, mainly because I put up a lot of helpful videos and some crazy ones for the Bebop 2. I got my first drone was a DJI Phantom. It was a Phantom 1, but they didn't call it a Phantom 1 back then. And you could fly for about 6 minutes on a battery, and then all of a sudden it started coming down. It didn't return home. Wherever you were, when it got to the time when it knew the battery was low, it just started coming down. Some of you may have had a drone like that. That was back in about 2014. I paid $450 for it used. Excuse me. Got a cold down here in Arizona. Anyway, that was my first GPS drone. And then a couple of years later, after I moved down here, now I've been an amateur radio operator for 50 years and very active most of the time. When I moved down here to Arizona, I moved into an HOA, and the noise level, the RF noise level, was S9. And if you have an S9 signal of a guy talking, you can hear him real well. But with the interference I had, my ham radio equipment was worthless, and I don't plan on moving just for that. So in 2016, about November, excuse me, I'm sorry about my throat, I sold all my ham gear in order to buy a Bebop 2. And the reason I sold everything is because I don't have a lot of money, but God's taking good care of me. So anyway, that's how I got into the Bebop family. And I started making videos. If you haven't figured it out, I was a teacher for many, many years. It's just kind of natural for me to share what I learned. And so the Bebop 2, made by Parrot, who is in France, was a very, very popular drone. And my first time I saw one like that was back in it was around 2014 when I saw my first one. So by the time I got mine, the technology was already getting a little old, but it worked great. And for the last 2 years or so, I've been having a great time with and I even bought a Bebop 2 Power just to keep up with the times. But then I started putting up my help videos, started getting a lot of comments, which I appreciate. But lately, this is, by the way, this is January 3rd, 2019. And I started getting comments maybe a month ago of people saying that they'd go to Best Buy and they'd buy a new drone, and when they opened it up, it had a variety of parts. In other words, they bought a Bebop 2, but they had Bebop 2 batteries, and they'll work fine in there. But anyway, and then just this morning I got an email from a guy who had crashed his drone. He needed a new X-frame. Well, I crashed mine a year or so ago and had to get a new X-frame, and it was $18. And I just went to Amazon to get it. Well, he went to Amazon to get it too. First of all, I went to Parrot, and they were out of them, so they're not supporting the X-frame anymore. And then so I went to Amazon, and it was $85, I think is what he said. And so turns out Parrot is not supporting the Bebop anymore. And so that's kind of a sad thing, because millions of people have bought that Bebop, and it's a good little drone, and I've really enjoyed mine. But they're no longer supporting it. So it kind of breaks my heart, because it's a good drone and people buy them, and then they can't get parts for them. So I don't know what's going to come of all this, but it looks to me like they're closing out the Bebop. And by the way, this is all my opinion. My opinion is free, so you know how much it's really worth. But anyway, so if you have a Bebop and you crash it and you say to yourself, oh, I'm just going to upgrade to the Anafi or whatever it's called, I want to give you a little bit of advice, okay? The Anafi was a copy of the DJI Mavic. Not a direct copy, but it was Parrot's attempt to keep up with the technology, because the Bebop 2 was about as old as you could get. So anyway, back to the story. So if you're thinking about it, I'll put a link to at the bottom here. I started doing some research and some comparison, and for about the price that you would pay for like a full package of Bebop, you can get a DJI Spark. And DJI Spark is a good one, and it's about equivalent to the Bebop, but it only flies for like 15 minutes or something like that, and you have to bring it in for a battery, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're thinking about upgrading to an Anafi, you might want to consider the DJI, what is it called, the Mavic Air, because it costs about $100 more. But let me tell you, my son gave me a DJI Mavic Zoom, and I have really appreciated the fact that it's got the obstacle avoidance, because there's been a couple of times that it would have crashed into trees, especially when I was testing out the flight plan. So the flight plan was from the Litchi app. It had nothing to do with DJI, but anyway, it wasn't accurate. But the Mavic stopped before it ran into the trees, and it's also been very helpful for a lot of things. And that the DJI Mavic Air has that object avoidance. Now, it's only around, as far as I know, it's only around $100 more than the Anafi. And since Parrot is maybe hurting for money or something, I don't know why they would discontinue the Bebop. But if I didn't have my DJI, and I know what I know now, and I had to decide on whether to go with an Anafi or a Mavic Air, this is just my opinion, okay? I would go with the Mavic Air, pay an extra $100, because further down the line, if you're, for one thing, they both have different Wi-Fi connections, and the DJI Wi-Fi connection is much more reliable than the Anafi. So that's why I would go with that. But also, somewhere down the line, who knows what Parrot's going to do with the Anafi. Now, DJI is still supporting the Phantom. Did I say when I got the Phantom 1? Anyway, they may not be supporting the Phantom 1, but they're just upgrading the Phantoms and they're not discontinuing something that they put out how many years ago? 9 years ago? No, not that much. But anyway, point is this: you have to make your own decision. But knowing what I know now, comparing Parrot drones with DJI drones, and since I know, because I couldn't afford my DJI, but my son bought it for me, now that I know what they're like, if I was trying to decide if one's $100 more than the other, or maybe even a little more than that, I would go ahead and go with the extra expense to get all the extra reliability of a good connection between the controller and the drone, the reliability of object avoidance and things like that. Knowing that now, I would spend the extra $100 or whatever it is between the Mavic Air and the Anafi. Now, if I'm probably going to get some arguments, and I don't want to argue. This is my own opinion. It's what I have discovered, what I have learned, and I get lots and lots of comments from people who have Bebop 2s and they can't get replacement parts, and they just bought one for Christmas and it's got different parts. One of my viewers is on his 4th Bebop because he had to keep sending them back. Maybe they were refurbished or not, I don't know. But the Bebop is probably not going to be around a long time. Now, let me tell you, the batteries for the Bebop, the aftermarket batteries, they'll be around because a lot of people are going to need them for their Bebop, because not everybody's going to get rid of their Bebop. I'm not getting rid of mine. Anyway, maybe this is just a lot of hogwash to some people, but I get a lot of comments and emails from people who are hurting because of their purchase of a Bebop, or it breaks and they can't get parts. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. If you're deciding to upgrade, I would upgrade with the DJI, and that's my opinion. Okay, and I welcome comments. So if you have a comment, be sure and add it to the list. Anyway, so now you know I'm freezing down here in Arizona, and appreciate all of my subscribers that make comments, and I appreciate your taking time to listen to this, and I hope it's helpful. I want to thank you for watching, and God bless.